I had a friend by the name of Terry Russell, and he had a convertible, and we were in Chatham on Queen Street watching a parade go by.
I met George cruising the drag in Chatham. I was in one car and he was in another car.
And these two girls came by, and Terry knew them, but I didn't. And so Terry invited them to come in the car with us. And so I got in the back with this Joyce, and Donna got in the front with Terry.
I had dated the driver of the other car for maybe once or twice, not hardly at all. And so we just stopped, and he had a convertible, and that was more fun than what we were driving in, so we hopped in their car.
And we had a really pleasant night, and so I said to Joyce, would you like to go out again sometime? And she said, yeah, that'd be great. And so I said, well, how's Friday night sound? And she said, no, I'm busy Friday night. So then I said, well, what about Saturday? And she said, no, I can't make it Saturday either. So I thought I might as well go for strike three and asked her about Sunday. And so that wasn't good either. And so I thought, well, obviously I had more fun than she did, and that's fine.
I'm sure George told his part of the story with Joyce, so I won't rehash him getting turned down.
About a week or 10 days later, Donna was having lunch with Joyce, and Joyce put a note on my car saying she changed her mind and she wanted to go out with me.
Joyce said, you know what, I should have said yes to him. She said, I really wish I had said yes to go out on a date with him. He seemed like a pretty nice guy. So we were having lunch, so she wrote a note that she wanted to see, would like him to phone her, and gave the phone number again. And we left the restaurant. We knew where George worked, and we put the note on his car.
And so when lunch was done, Donna went back and removed the note.
Joyce went back to work, and I was supposed to walk back to school, but I went and took the note off the car, which she didn't know that for years and years and years. So consequently, George never phoned her, and she couldn't figure out why.
So a few days later, I saw Donna downtown as we were cruising the drag.
I thought he was cute. I liked his yellow jacket.
Okay.
Yeah.
She abandoned her car and got into mine, and we started dating, and that's how basically we met.
Well, I don't know if George was more surprised going into our house, or I was more surprised going into his house.
Donna's father had a very important position. He was president of Dover Industries. He made everybody feel welcome, whether you wof a doctor, a lawyer, or a butcher. It didn't matter. He was just that kind of a guy.
I remember the first time out of his place, I got out of the car, and his dad was on the porch, and I was barefoot, like I loved to be barefoot, and I didn't have any shoes on, and his dad just yelled something in Dutch at George, and George said, you better go put your sandals on, my dad doesn't like bare feet. That's all I remember.
I think very, very early in the relationship, yeah, within weeks type of thing, that I could see myself married to Donna.
I'm going to say less than 2 months, for me anyway. Yeah, I thought, I think this is the guy. I don't know if I thought in my head marriage, because we weren't very old, but I thought this is the guy, for sure.
I couldn't spend enough time with her. Like we always wanted, there's 7 nights in a week, and we'd be together almost every evening doing something. I don't exactly remember the significance of the proposal, because it's just something that we had talked about before, and then we went looking for rings and all that, so it wasn't a matter of me getting on my knees or anything like that. Oh,
Valentine's. I knew I was going to get Valentine's. So I remember kind of thinking, okay, 28 days, 27, 26, and I already knew what the ring looked like, but that was cool. But then we went and showed my mom and dad, because they didn't know.
When she did have the night that she got the ring, her dad was hanging over it, says, I'm sure there's a diamond in there somewhere. So he had a great sense of humor.
First thing I remember about him was his laugh. He's got a great laugh. And that's what I remember about my dad. He had a great laugh. Now I'm going to get choked up.
They made you laugh then too.
Yeah, both of them.
That's good. That's laughter is what it's all about.
Yep.
See, so
I mean, there's tons more too, but I often think of that when I hear him laugh.
Well, it was at the Holiday Inn, and Donna's parents really put on a beautiful wedding. I think we had about 150 people there, and it was so nice on the big sign out front to see our names. Congratulations, George and Donna, and so that was really special.
I mostly just remember kind of the church and the wedding itself. I remember I was glad that there was dancing, and we really weren't old enough to drink, but we had wine at the wedding. And I can remember we were both really, really relieved to leave the Holiday Inn, and we went to Windsor. But halfway there, we stopped at service center, and the lady came over. She said, "What do you want?" And I said, "I'd really like an Alka-Seltzer." George said, "Me too." Both our stomachs were upset. So, yeah, so we both, it must have been a little tenser than we thought, because we both had upset stomachs, so.
It was a beautiful ceremony, and the one thing I remember about it as well is the minister. We were afraid that it was going to be too preachy, and so we had mentioned that, and he said, no, it will be fine. Trust me, it'll be fine.
I totally remember the message from Reverend Van Farrow. I mean, I can't say I remembered it that day, but we went to the church after we were married too, and I do remember that you have to build your house on solid rock, not on sand. You have to be on a firm foundation. And at that time, I didn't know what the firm foundation was.
And he talked about building your home on the rock and not on the sand, and everything that went with that. And here, 50 years later, it's still an impression that it was there.
And that was our wedding. So I'm glad it was there, that he did preach that.
I think that there was struggles getting used to married life, as far as being responsible and meeting each other's needs, whatever that would be. Also, the money was tight.
But it's hard to figure out how to do that when you don't have a lot of education. But he had street smarts. He's got so many good qualities. And as you say, he's a man of integrity, he's honest, he's a hard worker, he's fair to people. I just think it almost was inbred.
So once I got into the work world, I just felt that I had to work harder to keep things going. And we had a family and responsibilities to look after, so we just took that on and did our best. A big, huge change in our relationship happened when we both became Christians. We had some major storms, if you will.
It was hard, and it was hard even, we were struggling along trying to make it work, but I really think if God hadn't intervened, it wouldn't have worked. I know we both believe that.
Through a series of situations, we both became Christians, and that just changed everything. That was like a new love that was stronger than when we first met.
It went from a marriage that would never have lasted to a marriage that just completely changed our whole outlook on life and people, and it saved our lives, really. There's no way that we would have been together, no way.
It also gave us the strength, which is one of the most powerful things in the world, is the opportunity for forgiveness. If there's situations that come up in a relationship, it's how quickly you can put that behind you and say, yeah, I'm sorry, and she says, I'm sorry too, and then you go on.
Forgiveness, it was for me. And if we had a fight, we didn't keep going on and on and on and on, you know.
She may do things that upset me, and I'm sure I do things that upset her, and it's how quickly you can put those situations. I don't believe that any couple can come to 50 years, as we have, without not having some storms in the relationship, and it's getting through those storms.
Yeah, we're living the dream, and we talked about that, like all our married life. One of our first times we went to Mexico, we fell in love with it, and that was Puerto Vallarta with you guys. And when we went to Puerto Vallarta, nobody in Sarnia even had heard of it. So, I mean, that was something, just going to a place, we didn't even know how to say it.
We would walk the beach, and I remember saying a few times, wouldn't this be awesome if we could do this when we retire to winter in Mexico. So that's something that was always in the back of our minds. And
you know, a bit more, we kept saying, wouldn't it just be the dream of a lifetime to be able to live down here part-time? And God's allowed that.
I think come alongside me for all these years and loving me and being sensitive to my needs, and I think that's, you know, to be my life partner.
Well, just that I'm so glad that he came into my life, and that God has just made us have such a love for each other, and he knows that. Just how much I respect him.
I just pray and hope that we will both stay healthy for a long time, and that we can continue to have an adventure together.
I mean, that's pretty good, that we can continue to do what we're doing. That's why we're going to keep doing it, because you only go in this world once, so it's a good time to live it to the fullest.